What does the pen is mightier than the sword mean to you?
Well, I've heard that phrase used a lot in like academic contexts, usually to encourage kids to write. Because basically the idea is if you write something, if you put it down on paper and you express it the way that you want it to be told, that is going to have a larger legacy and impact more people than if you like take a sword and you hurt someone or kill someone. Because then your words are going to live on longer than your actions, and people can look back and read what you wrote instead of look at what you did and wonder why you did it.
Okay. So our topic is mass shooting. So what do you think causes these mass shootings?
I don't think there's one way to answer that question.
Okay.
I think access to a gun is one thing that very easily causes a mass shooting, because you can't commit a mass shooting if you have a gun or if you don't have a gun. Other than that, in terms of motive, it just varies extremely on the person and what they think and what they believe and what their motives are and what their mental state is. Other than having a gun and using it to kill multiple people, I think that's really the only universal thing you can say about it.
Okay. And how do you feel about the recent events in Las Vegas and Orlando at the nightclub?
I mean, they were both horrible, heart-wrenching, I think would be a good way to describe them. I think Orlando was especially hard for me. Both of my younger sisters are gay, and that just kind of like was like a knife in my heart, like thinking about them and the, like, not only the victims but also them and the fear that they definitely felt in that moment. At the time they were still teenagers, so the one was 18, the other one was 16. So that was extremely hard for me. And then Las Vegas, I woke up on Monday morning to all these news updates about what had happened. Got in my car, was listening to NPR about the whole thing. They really didn't know anything, and at that time I was just thinking, I was like, how am I going to talk about this with my students? And it was hard because at the time, like on Monday, they really knew nothing about what had happened other than at the moment, like it was like 20 people were dead and 200 were injured, and then over the course of the day, those numbers just kept growing and growing and growing. So that was my initial reaction.
And do you know who Carlos Reyes is?
No.
Okay, he was a 7-month-old boy who was killed in an attack at a McDonald's in San Ysidro, California. So a man went into a McDonald's and killed 21 people, including his mother.
Like the shooter's mother or the boy's mother?
The boy's mother.
Okay.
Along with 19 other people. What is your reaction to not knowing about this mass shooting?
Honestly, I'm not surprised. Something that I'm actually going to do with one of my classes today is talk about the definition of a mass shooting. It differs a lot, and like it depends on how you define the word mass and how many people die. I think there are some mass shootings that are obvious, like Orlando, ton of people died. Las Vegas, a ton of people died. If you look back into like history, like there have been a lot of like Native American battles and stuff, or battles between Native Americans and white people usually, where like hundreds of people have died. And so it just depends on how you define it. And so even though I'm a history teacher, I don't know every single mass shooting that's ever happened in history. I don't think I ever will. And I think that's really awful, obviously, that person who was so young died, but it just makes me think of how many times that's happened throughout history. I think at some point, I think you can become desensitized, like, it just happened again. Like, okay, here we are.
Thank you.